Hi everyone, welcome back. So as it turns out, Sephora has sprung a new sale on us and it is starting at the very end of this week. Usually they only have one in April and one in November, so this is a brand new one that hopefully is not replacing the November VIB sale. I don't think it is, but I can't confirm that for sure. I'm gonna put a link to my blog down below that will have more details on the sale, including how they're changing the point structure, which is very cool. But I wanted to make this video about recommendations for the sale. I asked on Twitter if people were still interested in this kind of video, and the resounding response was yes. So these are gonna be products that I think would be a good purchase for you for the sale if you're someone who likes the kind of makeup that I tend to wear on the regular. I'm gonna kick this off by talking about glitter liners because I use them a lot to do glitter freckles on my face. I've been talking about them for a few months now, maybe even a year, and I can't get enough of this trend or style or whatever you want to call it. So there are two brands that make glitter liners that are available at Sephora that I think are fantastic. The first one is Urban Decay. They have their heavy metal liners. And as you would expect, these are a glitter liner. So these come in a variety of colors. I have 4 here that I think were given to me all by Samantha. She just doesn't tend to wear glitter liners as much as I do, and she knew I would love them, so she passed them on to me. And the ones that I really love are Spandex because it's such a unique color. I've never seen anything like this specifically in a glitter liner. It's a deep blue with teal and purple reflect to it. And then another one of my favorites here is, it's a bizarre color. It's not something I would normally gravitate towards, but because it's so different, I feel like it's something special. It's called Sticks and Bones, and it's kind of a dark brown, but it looks purple depending on the light, and it's got like silver and gold glitter in it. So these are my 2 favorites out of them, but the ones that tend to work the best for glitter freckles are something that's a little bit paler. So something like a silver, this one here is a Glam Rock. This one is fantastic for doing glitter freckles. And then Cat Call, which is a bit more of a pink. Pink is not necessarily in my taste, but because it's a paler color, it would look really good as freckles. That's on my skin tone anyway. I have no idea what glitter freckles would look like on a deeper skin tone. So the Urban Decay heavy metal liners are fantastic, but there is another brand that does them as well, and they've got a few different colors. And that's Too Faced. Now these are their Glitter Pop Peel Off liners, which I think a lot of people are concerned about the peel off aspect. It sounds really cool, but people are worried that it's just gonna like suddenly pop off their face. I have not encountered this whatsoever. I do have to actually peel it off my face or remove it with makeup remover in order to get it to come off. So I wouldn't be too concerned about this just randomly peeling off your face. So they do have a silver, which is fundamentally the same as the Urban Decay. I mean, they're like indistinguishable really, but the purple one for Too Faced is called Super Fun Night. And I mean, pick colors that would suit you the most. Today I'm wearing Fairy Queen, which is kind of like a pale lavender with silver and blue reflect to it. I think this one is absolutely gorgeous. And frankly, I've worn every single one of these as glitter freckles, but just to reiterate, the paler colors tend to look a little bit better on me just because they look a little bit more, I guess seamless is the word I want to use because there's nothing natural looking about glitter freckles, but gold, silver, and like this paler kind of lavender color do tend to look the best on me. Now there's a product I want to mention that I hope I haven't put in a recommendations video before because I try not to repeat products because then it just gets kind of boring for you guys. And it's the Urban Decay Afterglow Blush. I have the color Bittersweet here, but I feel like their powder blushes are really, really nice across the board. I have 2 other shades that I use quite frequently, but they're not actually available at Sephora, so I can't tell you to go get those ones. But I have to say, Bittersweet, this bizarre purple blush color is something that I go back to constantly, and I think I wear it the most out of all of my Urban Decay blushes. I tend to prefer this in the winter when my skin is a little bit more fair, just because it looks a little bit better on me then. I don't have as many golden tones that I get from like having a bit of a tan, so it looks a little bit more of like Ice Queen kind of aesthetic. So the Urban Decay blushes, as far as I'm concerned, are beautiful to wear. They blend out seamlessly. They do pack a lot of color, so don't go stabbing your brush in there and then whack it on your cheeks because you're just gonna get like a clown cheek. You will get that like round circle of color. Go gently, apply it to your cheeks and buff it out, and I think it's beautiful. I'm wearing this color today and I really, really like it. But really, you can't go wrong with their blush formula, so get whatever color appeals to you the most. Moving on to a product that I feel like I should have been raving about for a long time now, but I've only just recently gotten on the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bandwagon. I know, where have I been, right? Everyone has been yammering on about this product for 10 years now? Maybe longer than that? This is really lovely. And I mean, that's no surprise because everybody else has been talking about it for so long, but I'm quite enamored with this bronzer now. I've been using this throughout the summer because it suits me better, and I will go towards the Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer in the winter. I wish I'd tried it sooner. I'm just kind of annoyed at myself. It's one of those things that it's so hyped up and it's like, oh yeah, whatever, I'll get to it at some point. And then you finally try it, you're like, oh, I should have done that a lot sooner. So yeah, the Chocolate Soleil bronzer is very nice. I will say that the newer one in this kind of packaging doesn't smell the same as it used to in the older packaging. I don't really know why they changed the scent. I did actually prefer the older scent more, but I mean, I love the product, so definitely a huge recommendation from me and everybody else in the makeup world. A highlighter I've been loving that I really wasn't expecting to love as much as I have been is Becca's Dreamsicle highlighter. I originally wanted this because it looked so similar to Champagne Pop that I really wanted to compare it. I liked the idea of this orange creamsicle color, but I kind of figured that this was not gonna really work that well for me. And then I tried it and I was like, okay, this does work and it's really pretty. I do feel it's a little bit more subtle than Champagne Pop. It doesn't like reflect off your cheek nearly as strongly, and that's probably because on me, this is a slightly deeper color than my skin tone. I know the viewfinder is showing a lot of reflect, but because there's so much orange in it, it is not obviously the color of my skin. So it tends to show a little bit of color with a hint of sheen. It's more than a hint, but it's not as reflective as Becca's other highlighters. And I've reached for this so much throughout the summer, probably because I've been wearing a lot of like orange and coral looks, that I really just gravitated towards this shade time and time again. So I would absolutely recommend it. I didn't think it was gonna work on my skin tone and I was proven completely wrong. So now I can recommend this for fair skin, or at least light skin, because I really thought it worked well on me. All right, I'm gonna talk about some lipsticks first and then we're gonna move on to palettes because I wanna recommend a few for this sale. Now, I think we can all acknowledge that Bite Beauty makes phenomenal lipsticks. I have yet to encounter a lipstick from them in this kind of tube that is not fantastic. I feel like the quality is so even across the board that there's none that is really a dud. So if you like a color, pick it up. However, I do want to mention just how good their spice collection is. I think it launched in May. It was around about that time. And the whole line is good, but I do have a few shades from there that I like more than others. So I want to talk about those ones. The number one favorite of mine from that range has got to be Saffron Fire. It's so pretty. It's neon red orange and it is like fire on my lips. I feel amazing when I wear this. I feel like I can take on the world. So this is my number one pick from this collection, but it's quite a bright one. So there's two other ones that I wear that are a little bit more toned down. The first one is Pink Salt, and this is an interesting color. I thought it was a little bit boring at first, and then I kind of realized just how much I was wearing it because it matched everything I was putting on my face. So Pink Salt is I would say it's a gray tone pink actually, which is not the most appealing sounding lipstick color ever, but it really works. It's a bit more of a muted shade, and if you're wearing something really bright on your eyes and you don't want to go like ham on your lips, wearing something like Pink Salt with more cool tone looks is really beautiful. And the other one to mention here is Lit Turmeric. I think I said turmeric the last time I pronounced this. This is one that a lot of people are not happy with the color of it based on the name. I believe the spice is more of a yellow based color, but this is actually a yellow based pink, and I see a hint of like muted peach coral in it, which is probably why I'm drawn to it quite a bit. The shade is easy to wear with a lot of warm or peachy eyeshadow looks, and that's something I've been wearing a lot throughout the summertime just because that's one of my favorite colors to wear when it's hotter outside. And this just worked really well for those looks. So yeah, I mean, those are my three favorites just from the Spice collection. But again, if you like anything by Bite Beauty, color-wise from their lipstick range, I would just go out and get it. They are definitely worth the money. Okay, moving on to palettes. The first one I'm going to talk about is limited edition, but it's actually still available right now, which is why I'm going to mention it. And honestly, I'm surprised that this is still in stock. This is the Too Faced Life's a Festival collection, and it came out pretty early this year, I think around March or April, and I thought this thing was going to fly off the shelves. That has not happened, and it's still available, which means that you can now get it for a discounted price, which I think is great. And it's not hard to see why I like this palette so much. It's basically a rainbow palette, but I think there's versatility in here for people who are not as comfortable with color, mostly because this side of the palette over here is kind of leaning towards warm neutrals. You've got a mid-tone brown here and a mid-tone to pale pink that are mattes here. Those are so handy to have because you can just throw them in the transition area. And then there's a purple over here that is kind of more satin, which basically performs like a matte. And then the rest of them are all shimmery. The color combinations that I have put together using this palette have been gorgeous. I am never disappointed with how my eyeshadow looks come out when I'm using this palette, so I can't recommend this enough. The only thing I'm not keen on is this Unicorn Tears highlighter. It's supposed to be a highlighter for the cheeks. You can obviously use it as an eyeshadow. I just find it a little bit more chunky than the rest of the formula of the eyeshadows, so it's not my favorite, but I mean, if you need something like that shade, you can use it. More specifically on the inner corner is what I was thinking of. So yeah, I don't know why this palette didn't sell out. I think it's fantastic, and I've talked about it a lot in the last few months, so now's your chance to buy it if you didn't want to spend a full price on it before. The next palette I'm going to talk about is one that I wish I already had the review up for it, but I don't. It will be coming shortly, but I've already done 4 looks for that video, and I have to tell you, this is such a knockout palette. It's the Fenty Beauty Moroccan Spice palette, and I'm a little bit astonished with how much I like this. The colors in here are gorgeous, but I originally, oh, how do I stop the reflect here? I initially thought that they were too similar to stuff I already had, that maybe the pop of blue here wasn't intriguing enough, even though there is a red and I really like red eyeshadow. And I kind of just put it out of my mind because I didn't figure I needed it. And then I got this in PR, and I'm actually mad I got it in PR now because I don't want to give anybody the impression that I don't love this dearly. And I know sometimes people look at PR samples as like, oh, whatever. They're only saying they like it because they got it for free. That's why I'm mad that I got this in PR, because I want you to know just how much I like this thing. This is so good. It's so good. There's so many matte shades in here, which was a problem with that Galaxy holiday palette they put out. It was all shimmer, and I was like, I am not about that life. There's enough shimmer in here to make a beautiful look. I don't want to spoil too much of the upcoming video, but this blue here is the best blue I have ever used in my life. Like the best shimmery blue. It's phenomenal. I've never seen that kind of color come off on my eyes. I was blown away. So I think this thing is fantastic. I know it is super expensive, and I think that's what kind of put me off buying it initially, because in Canada, this thing is like 70 bucks. But this is worth the money at full price. So if you can get it at a discount, great, but the quality, it's so good. It's just so good. Highly recommend this palette. And that video review will be coming. I'll have 5 looks, swatches, and I'll be talking more in depth about the shadows, but I won't have it up before the sale ends. So I just wanted to make sure that you know how much I like this thing. And the very last palette that I have to talk about is the Violet Voss hashtag palette. I got this at IMATS LA at the start of the year, and I hadn't been too sure about picking it up. I knew the color selection looked really pretty, but I hadn't been in love with the Holy Grail palette, so I wasn't sure if I was gonna like this one. This is such a knockout. I do have a full video review on this in case you want to see like 5 looks, swatches, and more details about the shades. But to summarize, this thing is amazing. The whole top row is matte, which is fantastic because you've got your brow bone shade, you've got your transition colors, you've got a black to deepen it up, and then you do have a few more mattes in here as well. You've got golds and TBT, but the rest of them are pretty much like satin, but mostly shimmer. and they are beautiful to wear. I love that the whole theme is basically a sunset. I think it makes for beautiful color options on the eyes, and I think it makes it a little bit special because while these rows can come across quite neutral, it's the purple row that really makes it something different. If you remove the purple row, I'd probably just look at this and be like, yeah, I've got this kind of palette. And I'm so happy to see that this collection of shades is just very cohesive, but also special, because you don't tend to see this kind of color combination that often. So I would absolutely recommend this palette. So that's it for my recommendations for the sale. I would definitely encourage you to check out my blog post down below though, because it will give you more details on the start and end dates of the sale, as well as the codes that you need depending on your Sephora level. There is also a point accelerator thing happening that is ongoing from now. But anyway, check out the blog post because there's way more details there than I wanted to squish into this video of recommendations. Let me know if you're going to be buying anything throughout the sale. I know I've got a few items that I want to pick up, and I'll probably be showing them to you in my haul at the end of the month. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!